There are moments in every market cycle where the charts stop being numbers and start becoming a test of conviction. Right now, XRP is standing on the edge of a cliff at the $3 support level, and the question on every investor's mind is simple: will it hold? Or will everything we built collapse beneath our feet? For some traders, this level is just another technical barrier, but for long-term holders, it's life or death for the bull run, because if XRP can hold this line, the breakout we've been waiting for could finally be in play. And here's the kicker. History shows that when XRP defends support this aggressively, it doesn't just bounce, it surges. But this time, the stakes are higher than ever, and the signs are flashing louder than they ever have before. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see why this moment could define XRP future, and why missing what comes next could be the biggest mistake of your crypto journey. The market right now is filled with noise. Bitcoin dominance is shifting. Ethereum is struggling to reclaim momentum. And altcoins? They're scattered in every direction. But XRP is writing its own script. For months, we've seen it climb, correct, consolidate, and now here we are, staring down a critical level at exactly $3. This isn't just another number. It's a psychological battlefield. Why? Because round numbers carry weight. They act like magnets, pulling price toward them, bouncing traders off them, and becoming anchor points for the biggest moves in crypto history. And today, XRP is in the middle of that storm. Let's break this down. When we talk about support, what do we actually mean? Imagine price action as a heavy ball bouncing across a floor. Each time it falls, it tests whether the floor can hold its weight. If the floor breaks, the ball crashes lower, but if it holds, the bounce that follows gets stronger, more violent, and more powerful. Right now, $3 is that floor, and the bulls are fighting with everything they've got to keep it intact. Why this support matters: the last time XRP faced a level like this, it didn't just bounce, it ripped higher. Traders who bought at support saw exponential returns in weeks, not years. And here's the chilling part: the volume profile, the liquidation data, and the on-chain flows are painting the exact same setup right now. Whale wallets are quietly accumulating, exchange reserves are declining, signaling that big players are pulling XRP off centralized exchanges and tucking it into cold storage. That's not a bearish move. That's preparation for what comes next. But this moment isn't just about technicals, it's about psychology. Think about the retail investor staring at their chart right now. Every dip feels like the end. Every green candle feels like hope. That's what makes these moments so dangerous and so powerful, because when the majority of traders panic, whales step in and flip the script. The breakout setup. Let's zoom out. XRP has been forming a classic ascending structure: higher lows, converging resistance. This isn't random, it's the architecture of a breakout. Technical analysts will recognize the tightening squeeze, the declining volatility, the kind of coiling price action that can only end one way, with an explosion. But here's where it gets fascinating. Look at the RSI divergence. Look at the MACD crossover forming right now. These aren't lagging indicators anymore, they're converging on the same story. Momentum is building beneath the surface. So, what's the target if this breakout holds? Based on Fibonacci projections and historical retracements, a successful bounce from $3 could catapult XRP toward $4.20 in the short term, and potentially $5.50 if volume accelerates. But this isn't hopium. It's mathematics, and the charts are screaming the same thing: sentiment in the market. But let's not forget the market is also an emotional machine. Right now, sentiment is split. On one side, you have the doomers. They see $3 as a trap, convinced that we'll collapse back into the $2.40 range. On the other side, you have the optimists, the ones who see this as the last big accumulation before the real moon mission begins. But here's the truth: both sides are right, because in crypto, both pain and profit coexist. The only difference is timing, and the investors who survive aren't the ones who predict perfectly, they're the ones who don't get shaken out before the move comes. And that brings us back to this Moment this line in the sand at $3, because if you can survive the volatility now, you might just be holding the ticket to XRP's most explosive chapter yet. Historical parallels. Let's rewind for a second. Remember 2017? XRP was dead in the water at 20 cents. Nobody believed. The headlines called it a scam, a bubble, a worthless token, and then, within months, XRP surged past $3, shocking the entire crypto world. Now look at 2020, another brutal bear market. XRP hovering around 17 cents, hopeless, forgotten. And then the rally began, slowly at first, then faster, until it shattered resistance after resistance, and here we are again, XRP back at the same psychological marker. $3 the difference this time? We're not in the early days anymore, we're in a global adoption cycle. Banks, institutions, even central banks are watching XRP. The legal clarity is evolving, the ETFs are circling. This isn't the same XRP story as before. This is the endgame setup. The catalyst question. So what could ignite this breakout? Let's talk catalysts. ETF filings. Major asset managers lining up for an XRP ETF could flip market sentiment overnight. 2 global adoption central banks, like Malaysia's recent acknowledgement of XRP, could signal that institutional adoption is around the corner. Ripple partnerships. Every time Ripple secures another banking deal, it strengthens XRP fundamental case. Regulatory clarity. The Ripple versus SEC saga may finally be near resolution, and if clarity comes, demand could spike. Combine those catalysts with the technical setup we're seeing, and you've got the recipe for a breakout that doesn't just move XRP, it redefines it. Risk factor. What if it breaks? But let's be real, what if $3 doesn't hold? What if the floor cracks? That's where the danger lies if support fails. XRP could tumble into the $2.40 to $2.60 range. It would be brutal. It would shake out the weak hands, and it would make headlines about the death of XRP roar across the media once again. But here's the paradox. Every collapse in XRP history has led to an even bigger climb. Because the fundamentals haven't weakened, they've only gotten stronger. And that's why so many investors are whispering the same phrase. $3 XRP is a blessing. So here we are. The market's heartbeat is pulsing at $3. The bulls and bears are locked in battle. The charts are coiled tighter than they've been in years. And the catalyst, the ETF filings, the central bank moves, the regulatory clarity, they're all circling like fuel waiting for a spark. The question is simple. Will this be the breakout that defines XRP's future, or the breakdown that gives whales their last chance to buy cheap before the storm? The answer isn't weeks away. It isn't months away. It's playing out right now, in real time, and by the time the breakout happens, it'll be too late to position yourself. So, are you ready for what comes next?